James Parker found a diamond ring and could have sold it to pay for his daughter's college tuition, but the choice he made earned everyone's respect. The marble floors of the Grand Meridian Hotel gleamed under the crystal chandeliers as James pushed his cleaning cart down the empty corridor. It was 6 a.m., and the luxury hotel was quiet, except for the soft hum of air conditioning and the distant clatter of kitchen staff preparing for the breakfast service. At 45, James had been working as a night janitor at the Grand Meridian for 8 years. It wasn't glamorous work, but it was honest work, and it allowed him to provide for his daughter Emma while she finished high school. The pay was decent, $2,400 a month, but in a city where rent alone cost $1,200, every dollar had to be stretched. James took pride in his work. While other cleaning staff might rush through their duties, James paid attention to details. He noticed when carpet needed extra attention, when a light bulb was burning out, or when guests had left items behind. His thoroughness had earned him the respect of the hotel management and the gratitude of countless guests who had recovered forgotten belongings thanks to his diligence. That Tuesday morning, James was cleaning the presidential suite on the 20th floor, a $2,000 per night room that had hosted celebrities, politicians, and business moguls. The previous night's guests, a young couple celebrating their anniversary, had checked out early to catch a flight. As James vacuumed under the king-sized bed, his machine caught something small and hard. He turned off the vacuum and knelt down to investigate. There, tangled in the vacuum's brush, was a ring. Not just any ring, but a stunning diamond engagement ring that sparkled even in the room's dim lighting. James carefully freed the ring from the vacuum and held it up to the light. Even with his untrained eye, he could tell it was valuable. The diamond was large and brilliant, set in what appeared to be platinum. This wasn't costume jewelry. This was the kind of ring that cost tens of thousands of dollars. For a moment, James just stared at the ring, his mind racing. His daughter Emma was a senior in high school with dreams of becoming a nurse. She had the grades and the determination, but they didn't have the money. College tuition, books, room and board. It would cost more than James made in 2 years. They'd applied for financial aid, but it wasn't enough to cover everything. Emma had been working part-time at a local grocery store, saving every penny for college. Just last week, she'd come home in tears after calculating that even with her savings, their modest income, and the financial aid package, they were still $15,000 short of what she needed for her first year. "Maybe I should take a gap year," Emma had said, trying to hide her disappointment. "Work full-time for a year and save up." "No," James had replied firmly. "You're too smart and too talented to delay your dreams. We'll figure something out." But privately, James had no idea how they would figure it out. He'd already picked up extra shifts whenever possible, but there were only so many hours in a day. Now, holding this ring, James could see a solution to all their problems. A ring like this could easily be worth $20,000, maybe more. If he sold it quietly, no one would ever know. The hotel guests probably wouldn't even realize they'd lost it here. They might think it had been stolen from their luggage or dropped somewhere else entirely. James could pay for Emma's entire first year of college and still have money left over. She could focus on her studies instead of worrying about finances. She could become the nurse she'd always dreamed of being. The temptation was overwhelming. James sat heavily in the suite's leather armchair, still holding the ring. He thought about Emma's face when she'd talked about her college plans, the excitement in her eyes when she described the nursing program, the way her voice lit up when she talked about helping people. Then he thought about her tears when she'd realized they couldn't afford it. He thought about his ex-wife, Maria, who had left them 5 years ago saying she couldn't handle the financial stress of their life. Emma had been 11 then, and James had promised her that no matter what happened, he would always be there for her and would always do the right thing. The right thing, James whispered to himself. That was the key. What was the right thing? James knew what his daughter would say if she were here. Emma had been raised to be honest and ethical. When she was 12 and found a $20 bill in a shopping mall, she had insisted they turn it into security, even though James had suggested they could keep it, since there was no way to find the owner. "Dad," she had said then, "it's not ours. Someone is probably looking for this money." The ring wasn't theirs either. Somewhere, someone was probably devastated about losing it. James picked up the hotel phone and dialed the front desk. "Front desk, this is Michael speaking." "Hi, this is James from housekeeping. I found a ring in the presidential suite, a diamond engagement ring. Do you have contact information for last night's guests? There was a pause. A diamond ring? Hold on, let me check. Actually, yes, we had a call about an hour ago from Mrs. Chen. She was asking if housekeeping had found a ring. She sounded pretty upset. Can you connect me with her? I'll get her number and have her call you. Which room are you in? I'm in the presidential suite, room 2012. 10 minutes later, the phone rang. Hello? The voice was shaky, emotional. Is this Mrs. Chen? Yes, it is. Did you find my ring? I believe I did. It's a diamond engagement ring, platinum setting. The woman on the other end of the line began to cry. Oh my God, yes. That's it. I can't believe you found it. Where would you like me to meet you to return it? You're going to return it? Just like that? James was surprised by the question. Of course. It's your ring. There was silence on the other end, then more crying. I'm sorry, the woman said. It's just, that ring isn't just valuable because of the diamond. My husband proposed with his grandmother's ring. It's been in his family for 70 years. When I realized I'd lost it, I thought it was gone forever. James felt a warmth spread through his chest. He'd made the right choice. My husband and I are already at the airport, Mrs. Chen continued, but we're willing to miss our flight and come back. This ring means everything to us. Don't miss your flight, James said. I'll be here until 2 p.m. If you can make it back before then, great. If not, I'll make sure the ring is safely locked up until you can return. We'll be there in an hour, Mrs. Chen said. And sir, thank you. Thank you so much. 90 minutes later, James was waiting in the hotel lobby when a young couple rushed through the revolving doors. The woman had clearly been crying, and the man looked exhausted but hopeful. Are you James? The woman asked. I am. James pulled the ring from his pocket where he'd kept it safe. Sarah Chen's face crumpled with relief when she saw it. That's it. That's my ring. James handed it to her, and she immediately slipped it back onto her finger, where it belonged. I can't thank you enough, Michael Chen said, shaking James's hand vigorously. Sarah was devastated when she realized it was missing. We've been married for 8 years, and she's never taken that ring off except for medical procedure. I'm just glad I could help, James said. Sarah wiped her eyes. Can we do something for you? A reward? You could have easily kept this ring or sold it, and no one would have known. James shook his head. It's your ring. I was just returning what belongs to you. But you must have been tempted, Michael said. I mean, a ring like this. It would solve a lot of problems for most people. James was quiet for a moment, then said, I have a daughter. She's 17, and I'm trying to teach her to do the right thing even when it's hard. I couldn't very well teach her that lesson if I didn't follow it myself. Sarah and Michael exchanged a look. Tell us about your daughter, Sarah said gently. James's face lit up the way it always did when he talked about Emma. She's incredible. Top of her class, wants to be a nurse. She's got a heart bigger than anyone I know. Always volunteering at the senior center, helping her classmates with homework. She's going to change the world someday. Is she going to college? Michael asked. James's smile faltered slightly. She wants to. She got accepted to the nursing program at State University. But college is expensive, and we're still figuring out the financial part. Sarah and Michael looked at each other again, and James could see some kind of silent communication passing between them. James, Michael said, would you mind if we asked you a few more questions? About Emma, about your situation. I guess so. Why? Because, Sarah said softly, we'd like to help if we can. Over the next hour, sitting in the hotel's quiet lounge area, James found himself telling the Chens about his life, about working nights so he could be available for Emma during the day, about how he'd raised her alone after his wife left, about Emma's dreams and her academic achievements and the financial obstacles they were facing. The Chens listened without judgment, asking thoughtful questions and nodding with understanding. Finally, Michael said, James, what you did today, returning our ring when you could have solved all your problems by keeping it, that shows a kind of character that's rare in this world. It shows the kind of character we want to support, Sarah added. What do you mean? James asked. Michael pulled out his phone and showed James a website. Sarah and I run the Chen Family Foundation. We provide scholarships to students who demonstrate both academic excellence and moral character. Students like Emma. James stared at the website, not quite understanding. "We'd like to offer Emma a full scholarship," Sarah said. "Tuition, room and board, books, everything. 4 years, as long as she maintains her grades." James blinked, certain he'd misunderstood. "I'm sorry, what?" "Your daughter sounds like exactly the kind of person we want to support," Michael explained. "Smart, caring, hardworking, and raised by someone who clearly has strong values. The scholarship is yours, hers, if she wants it." James felt his eyes fill with tears. I don't know what to say." "Say you'll let us help," Sarah said. "Consider it our way of saying thank you. Not just for returning the ring, but for being the kind of person who raises a daughter with character." That evening, James sat at the small kitchen table in their apartment, watching Emma read through the scholarship materials the Chens had emailed over. The paperwork was extensive, but the offer was real. A full 4-year scholarship to any accredited nursing program in the state. "Dad," Emma said, looking up from the laptop screen, "this is incredible, but I don't understand. Why would these people give me a scholarship? They don't even know me." James told her the whole story, finding the ring, the temptation to keep it, the decision to return it, and the conversation with the Chens that followed. Emma was quiet for a long time after he finished. "Dad," she said finally, "weren't you tempted to keep the ring, even for a second?" James nodded honestly. "For more than a second. I thought about how it could solve all our problems, pay for your college, give us some financial security. But you returned it anyway. It wasn't ours, Em, and I kept thinking about what you would want me to do." Emma stood up and hugged her father tightly. "I'm proud of you, Dad, and I'm proud to be your daughter." 6 months later, James stood in the audience at State University's nursing school orientation, watching Emma take her seat among her new classmates. She looked confident and excited, ready to begin the journey toward her dream of becoming a nurse. After the ceremony, the Chens approached James. They had driven 3 hours to attend Emma's orientation. "How does it feel?" Sarah asked. "Surreal," James admitted. 6 months ago, I didn't know how we were going to make this happen. Now here we are." "You made it happen," Michael said. "The moment you decided to return that ring instead of keeping it, you set all of this in motion." James shook his head. "You made it happen by offering the scholarship." "We offered it because of who you are," Sarah replied. "Because of the kind of man who finds a valuable ring and thinks first about returning it to its owner, even when keeping it would solve his biggest problem." Emma joined them, practically glowing with excitement about her first classes. "Mr. and Mrs. Chen," she said, "I promise you won't regret investing in me. I'm going to work harder than anyone in my program." "We have no doubt about that," Sarah said. "Your father raised you right." As they walked across campus together, James reflected on the chain of events that had brought them to this moment. He'd found a ring and made a choice, the same choice he'd always taught Emma to make. Do the right thing, even when it's difficult. He'd never expected that choice to lead to this moment, walking across a college campus with his daughter as she began her journey toward becoming a nurse. But that was the thing about doing the right thing. You never knew where it might lead you. Sometimes the greatest rewards came not from what you took, but from what you gave back. And sometimes, when you choose character over convenience, the universe finds a way to reward that character in ways you never could have imagined. James Parker had found a diamond ring and returned it to its rightful owners. In doing so, he'd found something far more valuable, the knowledge that his daughter would have the chance to follow her dreams, and the confirmation that raising her to value integrity over everything else had been the right choice all along. The ring had been beautiful, but watching Emma begin her college journey, that was priceless.